Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Just want to pop in, do this video. I was talking to a gentleman, and one of the things that we hear all the time today is the word simp. And I'll be honest with you, I get so sick and tired of hearing men say, that I'm pandering to women and that I'm a simp. And I'll be honest, I wish that I was a simp. And I wish that I was a better simp. In the way that they mean it. Basically what they saying is just being about your woman. Appreciating, respecting your woman. Like when I describe a man seeking to understand a woman, seeking to understand, then be understood. When I describe a man dying out to self and leading his household with love, when I describe those things, men say, oh, you pandering and you simping. And I honestly, the stuff I describe, I have not always done. And I have not been good at it. I have not succeeded at it. And I talk about it because it's really aspirational. And a lot of times I'm like, man, I wish I really was a simp, like all the time, because it would make life so much better and God would be so much more pleased with me as a man, with me as a husband. And so if leading in love, if suffering the wrong, sacrificing, seeking to understand, giving love unconditionally, if those things, y'all gotta forgive my massage chair, if those things make me a simp, then I want to be a better simp. Like I want to be a better simp. I want to do better. And the reason being is because I want to teach my sons that they don't have to compete with a woman, that they don't have to be at war in their home with their woman. I want to teach my sons that they can be the bigger person, that they can sidestep the power struggle, that they don't have to be petty, that they don't have to be, tit for tat, that they can love, lead in love. Y'all forgive me, in my massage chair and they do like all the little thing, hitting all your little pressure points and stuff. And that's what I'm trying to get to. And it's not easy to be selfless. And yeah, I got to do for me and I got to do for my mental health and I got to do the thing. Like I just was out riding around in my car for the last 2 hours. And I stopped by the store, the beauty supply store, and got me some new skincare stuff. And that's something that I normally would have my wife do. But I did it just because as a man, I say I also need to do some stuff for me too. And I need to take care of myself, but also take care of my wife and my kids and do it selflessly. I need to check where my heart is at, check where I'm operating from. And I'm trying myself to find the strength and the peace in selfless love so that God could take me to the next level in my life. And it's not easy, crucifying the flesh. But I believe it's something that needs to be done. I believe it's something that has to happen. And for the women, you have to go to God for yourself. And you got to check yourself. And you got to see what God asks of you. Because if God asks a man to love his wife as Christ loved the church, and it's on us as men, the onus is on us to understand and to really learn, what does that really mean, Lord? And if he says to a woman, wives, submit unto your husband as unto the Lord, it's on the woman to really get an understanding of what that means to God for her life. Because the scripture says what it says. And instead of us as men throwing it in the face of women, or women throwing it in the face of men, we have to go to God for ourselves and say, what is this command to me mean to you, Lord? How does this look? And really pray for that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the discernment and the discretion to really see who we need to be. And so what God is saying to me is, it doesn't mean that I can't state my needs or state my expectations, but I have to uphold my end of the bargain. I got to lead with love. I got to be selfless. I got to be forgiving. I got to be compassionate. I got to be understanding. I got to do my part. But yet, it's okay to have expectations and requirements, because Christ has expectations and requirements of us. And when we're not walking Christ-like, we're not receiving godly blessings. We're not receiving favor. So there is distance that's created from God when we are not seeking to live and do the right thing. It's not that we just always being showered with blessings and gifts and all of this when we make a conscious choice to live a sinful life. The wages of sin is death. So when you choose sin, then you're choosing the consequences of that sin. But when you choose righteousness, then you will reap the reward of that righteousness. And so the same thing in a marriage is, we have expectations and things that we want, but we also have to uphold our end of the bargain. And that's what my biggest thing is right now is, what is my end of the bargain, and am I doing it the right way? And realizing that I have to fix me. It's not my job to fix my wife. It's my job to do my part and let my love be a mirror, in the sense of, let my love cause my wife to ask herself, am I doing my part, and am I doing enough? Because he is doing everything in his power to grow and to change and to be a better person. And for me not to choose, as a husband, not to choose to be toxic. And if I go into a healthy space and my spouse wanted to be in an unhealthy space, I have to choose not to revert back and go into that unhealthy space with her, but to continue going into a positive space. And I'm not speaking of my relationship specifically, I'm speaking husbands and wives. And this is what I think husbands, what we have to do in order to grow and to be better husbands. And not get so caught up in what is the woman doing and what is she doing for me and who is she and is she growing and how is she growing and what is she doing. Not get so caught up in that, but instead constantly saying, am I the man that God has called me to be? Am I the husband that God has commanded me to be? Am I doing what God has asked me to do? And constantly being in that state of growth. A growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, like the lady speaks about in the book. So that's where I'm at. And I'm releasing and getting away from this whole simp thing, of the sense of feeling shame about being a loving, caring, understanding, compassionate, forgiving husband. Like, if that make me a simp, then okay, I want to be a better simp, because I want to be pleasing in the sight of God. Because you got to realize, what the world calls whatever radical, God calls righteous. So what the world calls a simp, God calls his son. And so we have to understand that what God saw as perfect in his son, the world saw as an abomination. And they crucified Christ for his righteousness, for his holiness, for his stance, for being bold enough to know his place in the world, for walking his own walk and not conforming. They crucified him. So you have to understand that, and every man has to understand that when the world is yelling simp, 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 that's a clear indication that that's what you need to be trying to be. Because the world is always going to be on the broad road and not the narrow road. And don't nobody got to stand with you before God but you. And so each of us have to answer to God for the life we chose and the choices that we made. And that's on us. And so listen to me. I'm thinking about this thing and I'm processing this thing and I'm like, okay. I'm okay. Lord, who do I need to be? What do I need to do? And Lord, give me the strength. Give me the strength. Give me the peace. Give me the poise, the presence, the endurance to be who you call me to be so that you could take me where you want to take me. Because if I'm not obedient, then I'm not ready. Meaning if I'm not obedient, I'm not ready for the next level. I'm not ready to be elevated in my life because where much is given, much is required. So God can't take and put you first in command on your job or in your industry if you can't be first in command in your house. Meaning if you can't lead like a servant, be a servant of God and be a leader for your wife, meaning be an example, not a dictator, not a tyrant, not a controller. And I've been guilty of all of those things. And God said, listen, that's not what leadership is. That's not what service is. That's not what the love of Christ is. Like Christ is not a dictator. He wasn't a tyrant. He's not a tyrant. Like he showed love and then gave us the grace in the room to choose that love. Or we could choose unrighteousness. We can choose hate. It's up to us. But we got to live with what comes with whatever choice we make. And that's why the quote says we have freedom of choice, but not freedom of consequence. So that's where I'm at in this here space, working and trying my best, to be pleasing in the sight of God. And so I want to say to the men who watch this video, be you, be you. Be who you know is right. Be who your mama would want you to be. Be who your daughter would want you to be if you got a daughter. Like, be who you know in your heart. If you know you're a good person and you know you can be the bigger person and you know you can lead in love, then do that. Don't get caught up in weak men who don't want to grow, who don't want to change, who don't want to love, who don't want to know God or serve God, and so caught up in terms, alpha male, beta male, simp. That's weakness. It's weakness, and it's insecurity, and it's immaturity. And as men, we got to wake up and realize that. And a lot of times people talk about, you pandering, this how you make your money. Listen, for one, it's not how I make money. That's what a lot of people get wrong. For one, it's not how I make money. That's not even 10, 20% of how I make money. That's one thing. Two, I got to answer to God. When you hear me say God, I don't play with the Lord. I don't play with the Lord. So this ain't about pandering. Because anybody who watch my videos, it's a lot of women to tell you that I say stuff that women don't want to hear. I step on women's toes. I'm talking to the woman about what she need to do from a male perspective, and women saying, why you talking to the woman? Tell the man. But the guys, don't see that. They don't watch that video because it's direct to a woman. But if they watch that video that's direct to a woman, they will see like, oh, he ain't telling the woman to just do whatever she want to do and dog a man out and take a man for his money and use a man for his money and disrespect a man. He ain't telling her that. He holding her accountable. So to every guy who see this video and feel like I be pandering, watch the rest of my video. Watch the video you think directed to a woman to see that I call it straight down the middle. Call a spade, because for me, the goal is for us. I want to have a healthy relationship and I want everybody else to have a healthy relationship. That's the goal. So I'm not going to say anything that's detrimental to a healthy relationship. Everything I say, I want it to work toward the goal of us being better as men and women so we can have healthy love. Hey, This Tony Gasson. God bless you. We'll be in touch.